And welcome to the second ever episode of Questions and Comments.
And stuff.
And stuff.
Yep. It's real. Back for version 2.
It's unreal. Okay, Deliverance or Deliverance. Hi, Deliverance. Asked, hi guys, great stuff as always. Have you seen Oliver Ackerman's band live, A Place to Bury Strangers?
Is it Oliver?
Oliver Ackerman.
No.
Do you know who Oliver Ackerman is?
No, sorry.
He's a Death by Audio guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah.
The super comb-over guy.
You looked that up, didn't you?
Yes.
So
No, actually, I didn't. It didn't ring a bell at first, but then, yeah, I have seen some of his stuff.
Oh, yeah, cool.
I think they're 3Ps, kind of like a sort of noise kind of band,
Right.
indie kind of noise kind of band.
Yeah.
And I read somewhere they're meant to be the loudest band in New York.
In New York, wow.
So they no, I mean, I have seen live clips of them, but I mean, have we seen them live? As in live? No.
No.
Like in person live? No. But I have seen some videos, and I quite like what I saw. I should revisit it again.
Mhm.
But I did have to look up. It just couldn't. Who's Oliver Ackerman? And then I looked. He's a Death by Audio guy, and then he kind of went, "Aha, yes, that's of course, yeah." So I'll check out more of it. Thanks, Deliverance. So Poo Ninja, the mighty Poo Ninja. Hello, Poo Ninja.
A ninja of all poos.
He asks, "What do you do with all that studio to make it pay for itself? Ads, bands, productions, etc."
I assume you meant this one.
I'd say so.
Yeah. Pretty much what you said. This is kind of a project studio, so it's semi-commercial, I'd probably call it. So
There's
there's...
a dog chewing on things back there.
What are you chewing on? I pick and choose which clients I take on because it was always designed to be not my main financial income. So anything I make out of the studio, I generally put into more gear and toys and or extra money for whatever. So it means I can pick and choose clients and projects, and also you can take on projects like a bit more love projects if it's a friend of yours and you want to record an album for no money. Then it's not taking out.
I'll be in next week.
It's not taking away from, mortgage money or bills money and that kind of thing. And mostly kind of producing singer-songwriter stuff. Occasionally done 1 or 2 jingles and bits of things like that for other friends that do that kind of work, and YouTube videos. That's pretty much what we're doing here.
They bring no income.
No.
None at all.
No, it takes it away.
Yeah, sucks life out of you. Thanks, Poo Ninja.
Yeah, thanks, Pooh.
Randy Sutton. Hi, Randy. He asks, what are some of your favorite bands, artists, also favorite pedal brand? Maybe start off with pedal brand, because for me anyway, I'm going to be talking for a while with favorite artists.
Sure.
Pedal brand.
There's a few. I think one of my favorites, and just because everything I've tried I've always connected with, and that's probably Catlin Bread. I dig all the overdrives, the fuzzers, the things like echoes and stuff.
Had an Echoes killer.
Yes, that stuff's really cool. Actually, just while it's here, the J Rocket design stuff. That's always really cool.
Yeah.
I don't really have like a favorite where you collect the whole series of something. But I'm sure I'll think of other stuff soon.
So for me, probably, I mean, speaking of collecting, I collect DoD stuff, and I have a lot of DoD stuff. So that's probably one of my favorite brands.
That's why your children don't eat anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's no more children. There's only a child.
Oh yeah.
No.
Got 7 pedals for it.
Yeah. So DoD is probably one of my favorites, and Zvex I think I like. Always like whatever they do. I like it. I think that's cool stuff. And lately, Mozztronics. I think he makes killer stuff. So, okay. Now the other question: what are your favorite bands and artists?
Sure.
So what about
Yeah.
last thing you listened to, last album you've listened to?
God, I don't. Actually, we were just talking about this the other day. I don't really listen to a lot of music at home
Neither do I.
anymore, just because I do it all the time for sort of work or side projects or whatever. So the last thing I do is put more music on, and often just have a quiet house at home.
In the car, that's pretty much
Yeah.
majority of all my music listening is in the car.
Full album.
Not full album. What was one of the last things you went, I'm going to put this on and listen to it?
Yeah, cool. Probably Mark Lettieri stuff. For me,
His solo stuff or the Schnarky Puppy?
no, the solo thing. There's a bunch of stuff on YouTube of him as a trio and live in the studio type setups.
Yeah.
For me, it does that kind of really cool hybrid between the jazz study thing and that kind of music theory study knowledge, and then kind of cool Texas blues rock funky thing. If you're in Australia, the new Ian Moss album's really cool.
Mossy!
Mossy's really good. That's about a year old now, a year or two old. I've played that a few times through PA and just kicks. So that's fun.
And everyone goes, Mossy! Mossy!
I think so.
Thing.
Yeah. There's probably other stuff.
Okay, influences.
Influence.
Biggest influences. Guitar playing and music generally. Back when you were little, Alex, back in 2017.
Yeah. Back when I was 12.
Yeah.
I used to listen to a lot of Stevie Ray Vaughan as a teenager on cassette that was copied off a record. So the last song of the side A was in half. So I never knew how the song ended. I grew up listening, obviously you always grew up listening to stuff your folks played as a kid. So it's things like the Eagles and Dire Straits and a bunch of country stuff.
Where you come from, country whoop-whoop town, don't you?
James Taylor, who's a lovely guitar player. And some old country things. And then got into a whole bunch of really quirky stuff in high school. Things like Ozymandias and like New Orleans things like John Cleary and Dr. John.
Norlands, I think is pronounced.
Norlands, yep.
Norlands.
And then after that got into a bit of like stuff like G3 and Satch stuff and blah 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 and so on and so forth. What about you?
Okay, last album I listened to.
Yeah.
On the way here, I just downloaded a new Weezer album.
Oh, cool.
Okay Human. It's good. It's a good album. I like Weezer. I absolutely loved Weezer in like the mid-90s when the Blue album came out. Then Pinkerton took me a little while, but I really dig it now. And then since all the albums, like the Green album and the Red album, and because that's what they're always called, Green album, Red album, White album, Black album, all these different albums, there's always one or two really, really, really catchy songs on it. He's the king of writing catchy songs. Yeah. But so yeah, I quite like it. And I heard that all my favourite songs are Slow and Sad, the first single. Oh, yeah. Super catchy. And yeah, so I bought the album. That's the last thing I listened to.
Cool.
But, okay, influences. So, okay, strap yourselves in. This could be a while. 90s, Nirvana, grunge. Nirvana, Soundgarden, Chili Peppers. That was probably the why I started playing guitar. Weezer I really liked in the 90s. Grunge generally. Stone Temple Pilots.
Was there one song in particular that you went, I need to learn guitar? Or a moment?
I always really dug, I liked the video and I liked the song, was In Bloom, Nirvana. That kind of black and white thing, and it was a film clip where they're all like dressed up with nice hair in black and white, and then it cuts to them in like dresses and destroying things. And I love that song. It's a quirky chord progression, actually. It's a bizarre, sort of not in a key. It's sort of lots of borrowed chords and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, great.
That, and maybe I really have a lot of memories of watching the Under the Bridge and the Give It Away film clips.
Yeah.
And I loved the look of the guitar that John Frusciante used in that. The kind of it's an odd color. I read about it later. It's a very unusual color. It's somewhere between a green and a blue. It's not surf green. It's not Pelham blue. It's like a different sort of blue with a matching headstock. That Jaguar that he plays in the Under the Bridge clip, and the chrome Strat in Give It Away.
Oh yeah.
I always really liked that, and those are probably the two bands more than any other bands that made me get into playing guitar. 91, that was my year. 91.
Yeah, cool.
But since I'm a massive Mark Rebo fan. Guitar. This is just guitar playing wise. Nels Cline, also bands like Mr. Bungle, massive influences of mine. I actually just one of the last albums before the Weezer album was the Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny re-release that Bungle did, which is like a thrash metal kind of thing. I listened to that, and Yeah, but I mean, band-wise, lately I really quite like Deep Sea Diver. That's a cool band. That's sort of more indie kind of thing, but
I know the
quite
name,
like Deep Sea Diver.
I don't know the stuff.
But I'm all over the place, because then one day I listen to Deep Sea Diver, next day I listen to, I don't know, Rammstein. I quite like that sort of stuff too. Then the next day I'll be listening to Bill Frisell.
Sure.
I'm sort of all over the place. I don't particularly listen to anything. But biggest influences on the guitar, I have to say, Kurt Cobain, John Frusciante, Tea Party, I was really into them for a while. Primus, Larry Lalonde from Primus. Someone is trying to call me, but they can call me back. Yeah.
Interesting. Cool.
So all over the place.
Yeah. Yep.
Thanks Randy.
Thanks for the question.
So Robert Menzies, hi Robert, asks questions. Have you considered opening a Patreon account and offering Patreon perks for people who support you, i.e. Discord server, chat room, MP3 downloads of pedal sounds you can test, or behind the scenes stuff?
Yes, we have. We have set up a Patreon account, but we haven't.
We each have set up a Patreon account without knowing that the other one did.
Yeah, so it's there, but we haven't actually decided what we could actually offer. So if you have anything you might want,
let us know.
As the offer, let us know. Yeah.
Because one of the problems is time. Always. I mean, I'm pretty flat out with doing what we're doing. To do more is always a difficult thing. But let us know. Yeah, anything in particular you want us to do.
Might entice you to.
Let us know in the comments below. And yeah, thanks Robert, and thanks for all your support as well.
Thanks, man.
So here's another question. This one from Wilfried Wupask on Instagram. Wilfried, hi Wilfried. Okay, what do you think about stereo or wet-dry setups? What are the pros and cons? Which pedals or effects do you recommend using such setups? What are the applications? Keep up the great job. Well, thank you, Wilfried. Okay, wet-dry. Go.
Yeah. For me, I think that kind of lends itself to the more ambient sounds. So particularly if you wanted, just because we're in a studio, and lately I've been trying to think of sounds from a producer's point of view, like how it fits in a song, how it fits in a track. So if you want to add, say, the color effecty type parts layer over a song, if you get some cool stereo ambient stuff that has some movement through the stereo field, that's when you can get the cool like icing on top type parts.
Okay.
So through that you can use things like panning delays, panning tremolo, things like the slicer, which is really cool. Stereo reverbs, of course. And as far as using which bits of gear to use, obviously the slicer is really cool from Boss. And we just did a video again today on the Poly Vibo, which is this bad boy here. And that has some really, really cool stuff. Gorgeous reverbs, lots of stereo stuff. You can do crazy wet, dry, wet routing inside that.
The Spot, but that does Mozztronics. There's
yes.
stereo panning optical tremolo.
That's a lovely cool trem. And for me, anything wet, dry, wet, that's kind of lends itself to the more ambient color second guitar part.
Yeah, I mean, a stereo setup generally, to me, I've been using a lot, and I've been really enjoying using two amps.
Yep.
Whether it's wet, dry, or wet, wet, or dry, dry.
Sure.
But using two amps and blending two amps together and kind of making them, what one is missing, the other one makes up, kind of, you know what I mean? And generally stereo, to me, I guess kind of like what Alex is saying, because most of what I do, when I play live, I generally just go mono. I tried a little bit of stereo with HX Stomp.
Yep.
But
not so much.
I was the only one who even noticed it. None of the other guys in the band even noticed that there was a stereo thing.
Sure.
And it's like, you know, the effort you go through for most of, you know, people that listen, no one really cares, or most people don't care. But in a studio scenario, and again, here and at my place, we listen back through the guitar through the studio monitors mostly.
Yep.
And having, it's that stereo movement, you know, is having things moving between speakers. So to me, stereo, wet dry, whether I would use it much, I don't know. On a guitar, personally.
Sure.
Well, I never really thought of it, because to me, if stereo is more just about the stereo, it's about the movement between the two sides. Yeah.
There you go.
But there, yeah. I don't know. I hope that answered the question. But thank you, Wilfred.
Definitely works for some people.
Yeah. All right, and that's it. So thank you so much. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments below, or send us a message, and we'll try our best to answer them. And we'll try to keep this sort of semi-regular to see what see how you people like it.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thanks for hanging. All links below to our Instagram, Facebook, and podcast.
Yeah, join our Instagram. Oh, not Instagram. Our Facebook group thing, because there's lots of nice people in there posting stuff. So
there's a dog.
Even the dog likes it. The Tone Dog.
Tone Dog. Hello, Tone Dog.
Hello, Tone Dog. On that note, see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.